Okay. Hello? Hello? Am I back? Dude, OBS always forgets my headset all the time. Am I even recording? Is it even working? I don't think it's even working. Oh wait, yeah, there it goes, there it goes. I see it. OBS always forgets my headset. It's always forgetting my headset. Sorry for the interruption there. All right, so welcome to my drown farm. This is my drown farm. Down there is a regular zombie spawner. You can see zombies spawn. They move into the pool, where they get shuffled over into the pipe. The pipe, they get shoved over here, where they're dropped into a pool of water, and they're slowed down, so that by the time they finish going through the pool of water, zombies drown. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but apparently zombies drown. So the zombies drown, and then they turn from regular zombies into drowned zombies. And they pick up, I don't know, where'd that guy pick up a fishing pole? Where did you get that from? I don't know. So yeah, and then they go through, and then they drop off their stuff. The experience flows out to the side here, but the rest of their stuff goes into the item sorter. Now I have two settings here for two things here for copper, but let me tell you a secret, and then the rest of here is for junk, and any overflow goes into the fire. But let me tell you right now, all of this work and all of this time to convert all of these zombies into drown and then kill them, it's really not worth it. It's not worth it for the copper you get. You get so little copper out of this. It's even with the looting 3 sword, it's just not worth it. It's not worth your time. I am telling you right now, I spent the time to build this, and I'm glad I did, because now I know not to do it again. This is a bad way of getting copper if that's your goal. And that was my goal, to get copper. And it's real slow. So, okay. There's with the RTX on again. So, yeah, there's my copper farm. It's a fail copper farm, but alright, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna go take a nap real quick. I have to have my bed way down here so it doesn't interfere with the iron farm up top. The iron farm really makes it difficult because I can't build a lot of stuff near here because of the iron farm and the way the villagers interact with other blocks. If I put that bed up here, it will mess up my iron farm and it will stop producing iron golems. It will change the size of the spawning area of the golems, and they will no longer spawn where they're supposed to up there, and instead will spawn like randomly and not turn into iron ingots. Okay, the other thing I want to show you, which is what really consumed me, is this thing over here. Oh yes. Oh yes. It is what it appears to be. It is indeed a Navy Nexus gold farm. Oh no, I fell in. This is a Navy Nexus gold farm. Let me show you how it works. This thing is incredible. And it produces so much gold that it's unbelievable. So basically, each of these here is a max size portal. And those devices up there, in each of those corners, are filled with lava. So if I let it go, it will relight the portals. And these are max size nether portals. So every time you open a portal, it has a chance to spawn a pigman, a zombie pigman. Which is what I want to happen. Because I make the zombie pigmen, a lot of zombie pigmen, they all fall into that water stream along the side. And then they get funneled into the center, their center water stream. Yeah, and they go into one of 4 killing chambers. And in order to stop the portal from coming out right now and like being annoying, I have these pistons sticking out into the portal, so it doesn't relight randomly. Only when I turn it on will it relight. And this thing is amazing. Down here is the collection system. and it also sorts out the gold swords and drops them into fire. So it sorts out the rotten flesh and the gold nuggets and the gold ingots and destroys the swords. And it looks pretty complicated. Wait till I turn it on. I have this setup going here to help with AFKing. But hold on, let me work on stuff here. Let me empty out my inventory. Too much stuff in my inventory. Okay. Okay. So each of these is a killing chamber. 1, 2, 3, 4. And each has a trident in them to kill the guys inside. So I turn on this lever, which sends a signal all the way to the top, which starts turning on and off the portals. It's designed to turn the portals on and off as quickly as possible to generate pigmen. And then you'll see the pigmen start falling down into the chambers. And a lot of them come down. A lot. And of course, all this experience is great, but a lot of pigmen are coming down. Let me show you what it looks like deeper inside. So in this area here, all the drops are being processed. This item here is an item sorter for swords. If you're a sword, you're gonna get sorted out by this machine. The 4 of them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time it pumps up, it means it's found a sword. And the swords get sorted out and dropped into fire. If you're gold ingots or gold nuggets or rotten flesh, you get routed to one of the 4 corners and dropped into the water stream. The water stream goes in a circle. That's all it does, just goes in a circle. See, the swords get dropped into the fire right here. Each of these is a fire. And the swords get dropped into the fire, and they get burned up. And the gold and everything else gets sorted out into these things. So when you see it from out here, that's what the whole thing looks like. The pigmen are being generated and shuffled into the center killing chambers. They're dropped in the killing chambers. The iron swords are sorted out and dropped into fire, and their good stuff is kept into these things here. It's ingenious. It's ingenious. And you get so much experience that it makes it like, yeah, it's ingenious. So let me turn this off here. You have to let it keep going to flush out all of the extra pigmen because they're still in the pipe. So with this invention, with this thing that I made, and it was complex. It was no fun to make. I had to make so many trips. and so many side projects in order to make this happen. But I finally made it, and now I have no need to go back to the old world anymore. I don't need to go back. The only reason why I went back before was to get to the gold farm, the Florence Larson gold farm. But this is a superior gold farm. In every way, this is a superior gold farm. This is like a fantastic gold farm. It's amazing. It's incredibly complex. But it works fantastic. I really appreciate the gold farm that Navy Nexus designed. It's really good. So yeah. Okay. And you're wondering, well, why did you make it out in the middle of the ocean? Why did you put it out in the middle of the ocean? And let me show you why. Because when you go into the ocean, into the water here, under the sea. Here, I like these glow squids. Okay, but this is an amethyst geode, and I built the gold farm right above the amethyst geode because, let me show you why. Whoa! Each of these amethyst geodes has had time to fully grow. Like, I took the time out to break out all the blocks not associated with amethyst geodes. So the amethyst geodes, the budding sites, had maximum room to grow. And yeah, and now I can take a fortune pickaxe and harvest. Ha 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 ha. I have to be very careful. Because if you break the budding site, you can't put it back. It's gone forever. So you reduce the production of your crystals here. But yeah. That's why I built that gold farm above this. So I could grow crystals. And with these amethyst crystals, I can make I can make tinted glass, and better. I can make more beautiful farms, mob farms. These crystals take forever to grow, but because I'm AFKing anyways at the gold farm, it doesn't matter. I should make more farms to increase my productivity at these gold farms, at the gold farm. I'm filled up my stuff. All right, look at all these crystals. All right, I'm out of here for now. I will come back and harvest the rest while I'm not streaming. Oh, right there. All right, the third and final thing I have to show you is over here. In the desert. Over here in the desert, I have built a, it's a holding cell. Because I've decided I need to get, I need a trading hall. I don't have a trading hall. So I built a jail out here, and I captured some zombies. Now I need to cure them and make a trading hall. But yeah, it's dangerous to be out here in the desert because, well, I like being out here in the desert because it's easy to see the zombies. Like where my base is over there in the forest, it's really, really dark. It's hard to see the monsters because it's so dark over there. But in the desert, it's pretty clear. It's easy to see things. It's easy to make distinctions in the desert. I think that's why the desert is a great place for religious stuff, because in the desert things are really clear. There's not a whole lot of ambiguity. But yeah, a little bit nervous being out here. But as long as I stand on top of this, well, no, because skeletons should shoot me. So let me move out of here. Let me get out of here. Let me go back home. Oh, actually, let's hang out at the gold farm. Because it's cool, man. Look at this thing. I only died once making it. I mean, it looks cool. And then when you understand it, it's like, man, this thing is awesome. When you understand it, it's like, damn, this thing is like, it's complex. But it works so well. And it like, I only have to make it once. I mean, yeah, I changed it, right? I added that to stop the pistons from going back and forth forever. And I added the pistons here to stop the portals from relighting. And I added these two platforms in the middle just for my own peace of mind. It's not part of the thing. But yeah, it works so good. I'm so proud of it. I like it. I like it. Okay, so that's about 20. That killed about 20 minutes of happy fun time of Minecraft stuff. Let's talk about like what's going on in the real world, because oh boy, things are going on in the real world, and I'm not able to digest it or to distill it as well as other people can do it. But it's important that you have context, so that the things I tell you, make sense. Like there's a reason why I'm telling you this in the context of Bob, because this stuff is in the background as I'm telling you. Now, I'm not good at it, but I do know someone who's great, and her name is Dr. Heather Richardson. Dr. Heather Richardson is really, really, really good at explaining things and making it clear. And she does this on Facebook, where she helps out people by explaining this. Now, here's a really short one that she did on Friday. It's important to understand because these two things are really, really important. The first one is that the Department of Justice ruled that the Treasury Department can release to Congress 6 years of former President Trump's tax returns. We have been trying to get Trump's tax returns forever. Every president since Nixon has given out their tax returns to prove that they're not criminals. Trump was the first president not to release his tax returns when he became president, and they've been trying since 2016 to get those tax returns. The reason why Trump didn't want to release the tax returns is because it would prove that he's a fraud. So he didn't want to release the tax returns, and he was very successful while he was president at stopping the government from oversight. He just stopped government. He was a dictator, and he stopped the lawful functioning of government. Well, now Trump is out, and Congress has gotten power back again, some kind of power. And Trump, and then the Department of Justice isn't under the direction of outlaw Billy Barr. Instead, it's under Merrick Garland. And Merrick Garland's like, all right, go ahead. Before Billy Barr, the outlaw Billy Barr, wouldn't release the tax returns to Congress. But now that he's out, he resigned, and now Merrick Garland's like, okay, go ahead, release the tax returns. Congress is going to find out that Trump's tax returns show that Trump is really, really dirty. And then we're going to be like, why did outlaw Billy Barr hide these tax returns? Did outlaw Billy Barr know that Donald Trump was a criminal? Was outlaw Billy Barr covering up for Donald Trump? I think he was. In fact, that's the whole reason why the Republicans have the outlaw Billy Barr, because the outlaw Billy Barr is the cleaner. Outlaw Billy Barr is the cleanup man. He is the man who came by. He was the attorney general during the Iran-Contra affair, and he cleaned up the Iran-Contra affair so that no consequences came down on Reagan, that everyone got off scot-free. Even Ollie North got off scot-free, and he's like a seditionist on Fox now. Like it's ridiculous. So Billy Barr's whole point is to clean up messes and crimes by the Republicans. So that's why he was brought on by Donald Trump, to hide Trump's crimes. Well, he can't do that if he's not attorney general. So now he's not. So outlaw Billy Barr is not attorney general anymore. So there he is. So now we have Attorney General Merrick Garland. He releases Trump's tax returns to Congress. Finally, we're going to find out just how dirty Donald Trump is and was, and how millions of people voted for him despite the fact that he was dirty, which tells you a lot about those people who voted for him. The fight to obtain Trump's tax returns had stretched on for years, and it has finally been resolved in a way consistent with the law that covers this case, which says, upon written request from the chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means of the House of Representatives, the chairman of the Committee of Finance of the Senate, or the chairman of the Joint Committee on Taxation, the Secretary of the Treasury shall furnish such committee with any return or return information specified in such request, except that any return or return information which can be associated with or otherwise identify directly or indirectly a particular taxpayer shall be furnished to such committee only when sitting in a closed executive session, unless such taxpayer otherwise consents in writing to such disclosure. So it remains possible that Trump will contest this decision in court. If he does not, Congress will finally have access to Trump's tax returns. Incredibly, after all these years, this is not the big story. It's not the most important thing that happened on Friday. Although it's huge, right? It's huge. It's huge. But it's not the most important thing that happened. The next thing is that today, on Friday, today's biggest story is that the House Oversight Committee released notes taken by the acting Deputy Attorney General Richard Donoghue during a phone call between former President Donald Trump and acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen on December 27th, 2020. Rosen took over at the Department of Justice after Attorney General Billy Barr left on December 14th. So Billy Barr knew something was up on December 14th. What are you doing? Yeah. He knew his cover was blown. So Billy Barr was like, all right, I'm out of here because I'm going to get in big trouble. So now, because he knows that Billy Barr knows that Donald Trump is going to stage a coup. So Billy Barr is like, yeah, I don't want to play the coup. Sorry. So Billy Barr gets out, and these new guys come in. And this guy, Richard Donoghue, is sitting here taking notes as Trump is talking. Trump hates it when people take notes because he's a criminal. So Trump doesn't want any record, any evidence of their criming. That's why he doesn't want people taking notes. When Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump had their meeting, and the interpreter, Donald Trump took the notes of the interpreter and destroyed them. Because Donald Trump doesn't want a record of his criming. Donald Trump doesn't use email because he doesn't want a record of his criming. So he does not want people taking notes. But unbeknownst to Donald Trump, Richard Donoghue, lawyer, was taking notes as Trump was talking. He's taking notes because that's what you do, right? That's the professional thing to do. Because professionals want a record. Criminals do not want a record, but professionals want a record because records, cement, they protect integrity. So you want a record. If you're a professional, you want to protect integrity, you want a record. If you're a criminal, you don't want integrity, you don't want a record. Donald Trump does not want a record. He doesn't want integrity. So he's talking, but doesn't know that Richard Donahue, professional, is taking notes. Richard Donahue is writing down stuff. And the notes record how the former president tried to get the Department of Justice to say that the 2020 election was corrupt in order to overturn it. In the call, Trump listed the many ways in which he believed the results were false, insisting that the election results in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, and Michigan were all corrupted, and said it was statistically impossible for him to have lost the election. But Rosen told him flat out much of the info that he is getting is false, and or it's just not supported by the evidence. We looked at allegations, but they don't pan out. When Rosen told the former president that the Department of Justice can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election, it doesn't work that way, Trump said, I don't expect you to do that. Just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressmen. Republican congressmen. Trump, Republican congressmen. Two groups. Trump, Republican congressman. Trump, Republican congressman. Trump, Republican congressman. Two groups in the coup. Trump, Republican congressman. The January insurrection, 6th insurrection, was 10 days later. That's the big story that came out. That's the big story. That's the huge story. We have it on writing. The guy took notes that Trump ordered the Department of Justice to say the election was overturned, because then Donald Trump and the Republican congressman would do the rest. 6 days later, Donald Trump had his coup. 6 days later, Republican congressmen stood on the floor of the Senate, tried to overturn the election. Republican congressmen on the floor of the election helped Donald Trump stage a coup to overthrow the American government. Republican congressmen are complicit, are responsible. They are responsible for everything that happened on January 6th. Republican congressmen are responsible for what happened on January 6th. Let me show you what happened on January 6th. Let me show you a tweet. Where'd it go? There we go. Representative Paul Gosar, Republican Congressman Paul Gosar was on the floor of the Senate of the Senate. Of the House, saying that we should overthrow the government. He wanted to overturn. He was part of the coup. He was working with Donald Trump. He and Donald Trump were gonna, go with the idea that the election was a fraud. They were gonna go with that, even though they couldn't get any support from the Attorney General. They were gonna do it anyways. So he's part of the coup. So he's the part of the group that got Ashley Babbitt inside of the Capitol, and that's where she got killed. So Paul Gossard is the one who tricked Ashley Babbitt into going into the Capitol to get killed. Paul Gossard killed Ashley Babbitt. Paul Gossard killed Ashley Babbitt. Look what a sick bastard is Paul Gossard. Look what a sick bastard. He wears the name of the person he killed to remind him of the person he killed. He's missing some. He needs some armbands for the police officers that he killed too, because he's a murderer. Paul Gossard is a murderer. He got Ashley Babbitt killed. Donald Trump and Paul Gossard got Ashley Babbitt killed. Who is Paul Gossard? Paul Paul Gosar worked with Ali Alexander to plan the January 6th attack. He's a Republican congressman who worked with Trump and Ali Alexander to plan the January 6th attack to overthrow the American government. He's a Confederate and a Nazi. Right. He engaged in seditious activity. He's responsible for Ashley Babbitt's death. This guy right here, he's a traitor. What is the penalty for traitor? According to U.S. law, treason is specifically limited to levying war against the U.S. or adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Paul Gosar did all of those things. He's a traitor. The penalty for treason is death. We need to put Paul Gosar on trial for treason, and if he's guilty, execute him per U.S. law. It's not me, it's U.S. law. He's responsible for the death of Ashley Babbitt. He killed Ashley Babbitt, Paul Gosar. This guy right here. This guy right here. There's your killer. There's your murderer, Paul Gosar, along with Donald Trump. There it is. There it is. And my Minecraft crashed. So, with that as a background, right? All the stuff about Donald Trump is starting to come out. Today is August 1st. In 13 days, Donald Trump has declared that he is going to be reinstated as president. It doesn't work that way. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But Donald Trump has cast a spell, mass charm, on a whole bunch of Americans, and they believe whatever he says. So if he says it, they're going to believe it. So August 13th is going to come by and nothing's going to happen. Like every other thing, every other failed prediction, right? How many times has QAnon let down its followers? But its followers don't care. Its followers are brainwashed with mass charm. They don't care that every prediction has failed. So what they're going to do when it doesn't happen on the 13th is they're going to get really angry. Donald Trump is desperate. Donald Trump is desperate. Do you see what's coming down the pike? Do you see what's coming down for Donald Trump? He's got his tax returns out. He's got Tom Barack indicted. He's gonna flip. He's like 74 years old. He's gonna flip, and he's gonna sing like a bird about all the crimes Donald Trump has done. So Donald Trump is freaking out. Everything is crumbling around Donald Trump. He has to act. He has to. This is his last chance. Well, I hope it's his last chance because all this, he's not president anymore. And he's going to lose his power. The longer it goes on, the more power he loses. The closer justice comes to indicting all his people. His illusion is fading. Like he cast a grand illusion, mass charm, but it's starting to break down. Okay, so behind this, we got to remember now we're at a stage where the Democrats have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So they have that's called trifecta. And when parties have a trifecta, you can see what their values are because they put forth their values. The last time the Dems had a trifecta, they expanded healthcare to millions and millions of America with Obamacare. They expanded healthcare to millions of America with their trifecta. Great power, right? And with the great power, they expanded healthcare to millions of poor Americans. That's the values of Democrats. Okay. Then Republicans got their trifecta. In 2016, the Democrats had trifecta of House, Senate, and President. So the great power. What is the great power? Did I not move it over here? I looked it up. I was in the middle of doing it, and I forgot. Here. Okay, when the Republicans had great power, right? When they had the trifecta, they put forth their values, their vision of the way America should be. So yes, the GOP, when they had their trifecta, they showed us the true essence of the Republicans, and they cut taxes for the richest people in the United States. They wanted Americans to know that the Republicans really care about billionaires. We want to do everything we can to help the billionaires. Everything for billionaires. The GOP. So they changed with their great power, with the trifecta power. The Republicans cut taxes for the billionaires to be the lowest tax rate in the country. Nobody pays lower taxes than billionaires in the United States. Nobody pays lower taxes. Not even the poorest people. You pay a higher tax rate if you're a poor person than if you're a billionaire, because Republicans really show their value structure. So we know who they are, right? So when Dems had trifecta in 2008, they passed Obamacare to give healthcare to the poorest people. When Republicans had trifecta, they give a tax cut to the billionaires to help the richest people. Now we're back down to the Republican or the Democrats. Democrats have a trifecta power now, and they put forth their vision of the way things should be. And here's the Joe Biden Democrat infrastructure plan is $2.6 billion. Remember this hold on. I got rid of it. Damn it! I shouldn't have done that. Remember, this tax cut to do this is going to cost $10 trillion over 10 years. $10 trillion. Republicans are willing to borrow $10 trillion to stimulate billionaires, because this is what this means, right? We're going to borrow $10 trillion and then give it to the billionaires to stimulate the economy. That's the Republican idea. If we borrow $10 trillion and give it to the richest 400 people, it will stimulate the economy. That's the idea of the Republicans. So Democrats have their own idea, right? They're okay. We're not going to spend $10 trillion. We're only going to spend $2.6 trillion, and we're not going to give $10 trillion to the richest 400 people. Instead, we're going to use $2.6 trillion to pay for all this stuff. We're going to do research and development and manufacturing, housing and school. We're going to do public transit, road and safety, roads and bridges, railway, electric vehicles. We're gonna do clean energy, water infrastructure, broadband. We're going to do home and community-based care to get those social workers that we need. So we stop calling the police and start calling social workers. Right? Isn't that brilliant? Look what a great idea. It doesn't cost nearly what the Republicans wanted to borrow $10 trillion and give it to the 400 richest people for stimulus. That's what they wanted to do, and that's what they did, because they did it through reconciliation. So they didn't need any Republican or any Democrats to do it. So it was the purest distillation of Republican values, which is borrow $10 trillion to give to the richest 400 people in America and hope they give it to the rest of us. Now, Democrats want to borrow $2.6 trillion and invest in all this stuff. It doesn't go to the richest 400. Sorry. It's going to go to your construction workers. It's going to go to your teachers. It's going to go to your social workers, your doctors, your miners, your truck drivers. It's not going to go to your richest billion. Sorry, and it's not going to be 10 trillion. It's only going to be 2.6 trillion. All right. So, but this is the essence of what the Democrats want. But there's someone called Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. They live in states that have a lot of Republicans. So they insist, these two Democratic senators insist we make a deal with Republicans to make it bipartisan so that it's both sides. It's not just Democrat or not just Republican, but it's both of them together. That's what they want. So you saw the essence of what Democrats want to do. They want to take money and give it to the poorest people. And you saw the essence of what Republicans want. They want to take money and give it to the richest people. So Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin want to combine these two ideas into one idea, into passing a single bill. And so it hurts, right? It hurts. But they finally did it. They finally did it. Do you want to see what it looks like? Here's what they came up with. Here's where something that both Republicans and Democrats agree on. So remember, Democrats want to take money and give it to the poorest people. And Republicans want to take money and give it to the richest people. Democrats or Republicans never want to give money to the poor people. Never. Instead, Republicans want to take money from poor people and give it to the rich. So these two ideas are opposite, right? They're opposite. The Democrats and Republicans are opposite ideas. Democrats want to take money from the richest and give it to the poorest through infrastructure. And Republicans want to take money from the poorest and give it to the richest through monetary policy, through fiscal policy. Right? They have two totally separate ideas. But Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin want to combine these ideas. And when you combine these ideas, this is what you get. You get nothing. You get nothing for manufacturing and research and development. You get nothing for construction workers and truck drivers and teachers. You get nothing for social workers and for doctors and stuff like that, for nurses. You get nothing to get off of oil, right? You get nothing to leave oil. Republicans are very, very into oil. They love oil. Republicans love oil. So they do not agree to anything that would take us away from oil. They do not want to help with oil. Like, they'll help with electric vehicles maybe because Elon Musk. It's because rich people will benefit. That's why they'll agree to this. But if you want to leave oil, nope, they don't want to do it. Nope. And they're okay with roads and bridges because electric vehicles that you buy from billionaires would use it. But that's it. So, yeah, there's nothing that Republicans and Democrats actually agree on. There's nothing. So that's like when you try to combine them, it just destroys it. That looks more Republican than Democrat. That looks like a Republican bill, not a Democratic bill. That looks like a Republican bill. You're Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin basically gave us a Republican bill. They defeated the Democrats, and Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin defeated the Democrats and joined them with the Republicans to bring us the Republican infrastructure bill. Oh, I don't have it. I was going to talk about, I should have did it earlier. I was going to talk about how China has released a news report. I should have got it. China released a news report saying, it released its design. It released its design for its molten salt thorium reactor. That it says it's going to be commercial by 2030. This is earth-shattering news. This is earth-shattering news. I didn't think they could do it. I heard about this in 2012. I heard that China took all of the research from the United States. The United States just gave it to them. The United States gave to China our research that we did in the 1950s and 60s on molten salt nuclear reactors, and we just gave it to China. China took this research that we did in the 50s and 60s, took it back to China, and they worked on it for like 20 years. I heard about it in 2012, And I tried to get my country to do something about it, but no one cared. In 2021, I just read it. China said they did it. That they made a thorium nuclear reactor, a molten salt thorium nuclear reactor, and they're going to go commercial with it in 2030, in 9 years. When they go commercial with it, that means that's the end of the hydrocarbon world. I don't know how to explain this to you. Ever since the end of World War II, the world has been based on oil, the control of oil, how oil flows. England, Great Britain was trying to set this up with Arabia, but then got sidelined by World War I and II, so it couldn't finish the project. But the Americans could finish it, so the Americans got it. The Americans got all the cash and money and from control of oil, because in order to buy oil, you had to buy American dollars, and then you could buy oil, which props up the American dollar. Or if you didn't want to buy from the Americans, you could go to Russia, because that's the other country that controlled oil. Oh, you want to talk to Iran? Well, but the West tried to get Iran to play with the West, but Iran didn't want to do it. So the West staged a coup against Iran and installed a puppet called the Shah. Well, then there was a religious extremist war, and they overthrew the Shah and installed a religious extremism that allied with Russia. So yeah, you either get Russia. There's two places you get oil. You either get oil from USA, or you get oil from Russia or Russia's friends. You get oil from USA or her friends, or you get oil from Russia and her friends. That's the world, and everything's been based around that dynamic, because it's all about energy. It's all about energy. Everything's been based around that dynamic. The United States knew about molten salt reactors back in the 50s, but did not pursue it because molten salt reactors are a threat to hydrocarbon economy. If you have a molten salt reactor, the fuel is infinite. It's free. It's everywhere. Like, the problem with light water reactors is that the fuel is really, really, really expensive. It's super rare, and it's really expensive. So to buy it, you have to pay companies a lot of money to get it. And it takes a lot of processing. But these thorium reactors, the fuel is free. It doesn't really take any processing. And it operates at low pressure, at like normal pressure. So there's not a whole lot of engineering involved. And they're really, really, really efficient. So you're basically killing the oil market. Why buy oil from the USA or from Russia when you can get carbon-free energy from China? It's carbon free. The fuel is free. It's super cheap. And there's like almost no pollution. Like, certainly not anything compared to a coal plant. Like, it's ridiculous. It's amazing. If China can really do this, they're going to rule the world. And I tried to tell people this 10 years ago, but no one really listened. And I didn't really think they could do it. I really didn't believe China could do it. but they did it. And they're gonna do it. Like, I was talking a little while ago about the ecelium reactor. Instead of using fluoride salt, it uses chloride salt, and it worked. And I'm like, that's fine. If whatever works, whatever you can do to get it to work, that's fine. So like, apparently there's this thing. There's a reactor, a molten salt reactor, called the ecelium reactor, but it uses chloride salt, not fluoride salt, and it runs on the same principles. But it's a Western company and not China, and they say they're close too. But I haven't seen anything. I mean, I saw their design and that's it. I haven't seen them actually do anything. I heard they got a grant from the Department of Energy from the USA, but I don't know if they built anything. And I have a lot more confidence in China actually doing something than I do in the West of doing something, because the West is beholden to oil. That's where it derives its power. But China has no oil of its own. It's dying to the coal pollution that it has. It has every incentive to make a thorium reactor. it really, really, really wants to get off of oil because oil is what keeps it enthralled to the West or enthralled to Russia. Because that's the only places you can get your oil. Those two entities have got all the oil on the planet. And modern existence requires energy. You need energy. So that was a big thing that happened. I should have made slides on it. But here, let me just like keep talking here. What's going on with the Olympics? Lukashenko's regime appears to have tried to kidnap an Olympic athlete out of Tokyo, taking her to Haneda Airport against her wishes, but she sought out the protection of Japanese police there. So do you remember what happened in Belarus? So Lukashenko is an ally of Putin, and there was an election in Belarus. Belarus is right next to Russia. And in this election in Belarus, the winner of the election was Alexei Navalny. He won the election, and he's a pro-democracy guy. He wanted to move Belarus closer to the West. But Russia doesn't want Belarus to go closer to the West. Russia wants to take over Belarus. So Russia sent its puppet Lukashenko to send its security forces throughout Belarus and attack the people. They poisoned Alexei Navalny, and they tried to kill him, but he didn't die. He lived. So he tried to come back to Belarus to be the president because he won the election. But Russia kidnapped him and put him in prison. And they're trying to kill him in prison or make him die in prison because he's the president in Belarus. And in the meantime, they have a puppet government in Belarus trying to like take over the country, right? So this athlete, crap. This athlete tried to speak out against the occupation of Belarus, the Russian occupation of Belarus. She tried to speak out against the Russian invasion of Belarus. And the henchmen of Lukashenko, the henchmen of Putin, tried to kidnap her and steal her out of the Olympics. And she sought asylum with the Japanese police. So hopefully she is safe. Because they're trying to keep her quiet. Putin does not want the world to know that he's invaded Belarus. He doesn't want the people, the world to know. And remember, Putin's a bad guy because he's part of the oil group. The oil is what's going to kill our world. We need to get off of oil. We need to leave oil. Have you been noticing how messed up the weather has been lately? Let me show you in South America. In South America, they had a massive plume of cold air come up from the Arctic. You can see and swirl around here. That blue right here should not come up this high into the rainforest. That should never happen. That should never happen. How is it that all this Arctic air is coming so high up? And this is going to cause a lot of coffee prices to go up because the coffee crops are going to die with all this cold air flowing up into South America. I love coffee, dude. I'm drinking coffee every day. I love coffee, and this is going to make coffee more expensive. How is it that this cold air is flowing up into South America like that? Well, if you look at the jet stream, the jet stream is no longer strong anymore. Normally, the jet stream would go in a circle around the Arctic, Antarctica, and keep all of the cold air in. But because of all the extra heat in our atmosphere, the jet stream, look at it. It's all messed up. It's not going to do anything. And so because it's so weak, cold air can easily come out of the Antarctic and move up into to areas it's not supposed to be, because the wall that's supposed to be here by the jet stream is weak. It's all messed up. Look at it. Look at the way it moves. It's like not even there. So look how it can easily push through and go up into areas it's not supposed to be, because the jet stream, look at it, it's all messed up. It's supposed to be a solid wall here, and instead it's a wavy, weak, broken line. Increasingly, that will be the case. Coffee prices are surging. Yep. That's why we have so much heat in the Northwest right now, because the jet stream that would keep all the hot air down in the middle of the planet is weak, and it's letting this hot air bubble up and to reach the areas it's not supposed to get. And that will continue to happen because we continue to burn fossil fuels. Oh yeah, student loans. It's wrong to talk about the cost of canceling federal student loans because it's all just repayment estimates. The money has already gone out the door. Baxton Brewer 96 does an excellent job explaining this in a new piece for Truth Out. Cancel student debt. And what it says is, ideology aside, arguments like Pelosi's misrepresent how student debt cancellation works financially. The cost to the taxpayer comes on the front end when the loans are made. From there, it's all a guessing game as to how much of the debt will be repaid by borrowers. The government often guesses wrong, and the department issues re-estimates correct, as they did in late 2020. Further, the government often employs utterly draconian collection techniques to squeeze payments out of defaulted borrowers who can't afford it. Garnishing wages, seizing child tax credits, EITC or tax refunds, or taking away Social Security benefits from seniors in defaults. Seniors are the fastest growing segment of student debtors. In 2015, 40,000 seniors had their Social Security garnished due to student loans. That's terrible. That's terrible. You're squeezing the poorest people in the United States, and you're not going after the richest people. How do I know this? No, not that one. Here's a report about corporate taxes and receipts. You can see once Trump got into office, corporate taxes went way down because Republicans defunded the IRS. And the IRS doesn't go after big companies, they go after little people because little people don't fight back. Little people don't have lawyers. Little people are cheap to go after. So the corporate tax receipts as a share of U.S. GDP has been going down. So here, look at, even though the United States has the highest corporate tax rate as of 2018, the percentage of money that we get from the corporate tax receipts as a share of GDP is the lowest. We have the highest tax rate on corporations, but corporations represent the least amount of money to the tax base. How does that work? How does that work? How can corporations have the highest tax rate but give the lowest amount of money in terms of a contribution to our tax rate? It's because even though they have a tax rate, they pay nothing. That tax rate means nothing because they don't pay taxes. You can give them a tax rate of 100%. It doesn't matter. They won't pay it. Look at right here. It's proven. It's proven corporations don't pay taxes in America. It's proven. It's proven. Regardless of the tax rate, they don't pay. If they don't pay, who pays? Grandpa with his Social Security checks being garnished for student loan debts. That is not just. Debt cancellation would be one of the largest bottom-up economic stimulants in American history. It's actually cheaper for I'm in the way. It's actually cheaper for the government to write off this debt than it is to keep it on government books. In fact, debt cancellation would be one of the largest bottom-up economic stimulants in American history, creating millions of jobs and boosting annual GDP by up to $108 billion per year for the next 10 years. And because student debt is disproportionately held by women and students of color, the one-time executive action would narrow enormous gender and racial wealth gaps. But Joe Biden is a moderate. He's a moderate, so he won't do that because it would upset business. He doesn't want to upset business. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to upset business. Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden are beholden to the rich. It's very clear where their priorities lie. They are absolutely beholden to the rich. That's why, like, the Democrats, they have some like awesome progressive people. Representative Cori Bush. Do you know what happened? There was a federal moratorium on evictions. The federal government said you cannot evict people. You cannot evict poor people because they can't pay their rent because of COVID. You can't do it. Well, they kept re-upping it. Well, they stopped re-upping it. And Cori Bush screamed at Pelosi, yo, come on, we got to do this. Nope. Everyone went home. Nancy Pelosi called a recess until September 15th. Cori Bush is like, no, we can't go on recess until we take care of this. Cori Bush, she has experienced homelessness. She knows what it's like to be homeless. She spent the whole night, Friday night, on the steps of Capitol to protest Congress going home and not extending the eviction moratorium. Millions of people are going to be made homeless because of this. So Cori Bush is awesome. I give her props. We need more Cori Bush in Congress. We need more of that. She represents the best of us. That is excellence right there. That is excellence. Asha Rengapa. Here's the simple math. You can, at most, have two of these things. Choose two of the three things. No masks, no vaccine, or no lockdown. You can't have all three. Take your pick which two matter to you the most, and then live with having to do the third. It's not that hard to grasp. You can have no mask, but then you have to have vaccine, and you have to have lockdowns. You can have no vaccine, but you have to have masks, and you have to have lockdowns. You can have no lockdowns, but you have to have vaccine, and you have to have masks. Pick any two. Any two. You can pick two. Choose two. But once you pick it, we got to go with it. We got to go. Everyone's dilly-dallying. No one can make up their mind. I don't want to lock down. I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to wear a vaccine. Pick any two. Pick two. San Diego Police Department received $111 million out of the $250 million in federal COVID relief. The police department. 44% of the funds for COVID relief went to the police department. That's why we say defund the police. That federal funding was not used to help people during the pandemic in San Diego. This is from the Activated podcast. Only $9.7 million went to emergency rental assistance to stop people from being homeless. 3.8% of the funds. 3.8% of the funds went to stop people from being homeless. 44% of the funds went to the police to arrest people. Only $12.8 million went to small business relief. 5.1% of the total funds. 3.8% of the funds went to stop people from being homeless. 5% of the funds went to businesses to stop them from closing down and making unemployed people. 44% of the funds went to the police department so they can arrest people. That is a misallocation of funds, and that's what happens when you do block grants under the Trump administration. It was a massive transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. The Trump administration totally messed up the COVID the loans. They totally messed up the loans. It was a big grift. We lost. God, the Trump cost us so much money. I can't even believe it. Symptomatic breakthrough COVID-19 infections. So, for every 102,000 vaccinated, there are 100 symptomatic breakthroughs and 1 COVID death. So for all these people vaccinated, only these people have are symptomatic. None of these people they're all vaccinated. All these people are vaccinated. Only these people had symptoms. All of these people who had symptoms, only that one died. If you had the vaccine. So the point is, get the vaccine. Get the vaccine, right? You can't even see this here. All the people infected are all the vaccinations, breakthrough infections, actual deaths. Right? Get your shot. Get vaccinated. Of the 6 So, if you get vaccinated, you're not going to die. You're not getting sick. Like, the chances of you dying and getting sick are very, very low once you get vaccinated. Once you're vaccinated, you're 99.92% protected. Get vaccinated. Today, economists play the role within capitalism that priests played in the Middle Ages, namely, to provide justification for the dominant social system. And like the priests, they urge us to tolerate current oppression and exploitation with the promise of better times to come. That's why the Republicans have no problem borrowing $10 trillion to give to the richest 400 people in America, but do not want to spend $2 trillion to actually give to the people to rebuild our infrastructure. Because Republicans want to transfer money to the wealthy through fiscal policy, and Democrats want to transfer money to the poor through infrastructure, through actual like stuff. Two different ideas. So Pastor Ken Peters is spreading a lot of misinformation. So he's like, what if we let people decide whether or not to mask, lock down, or vaccinate? That's an idea, right? What happens when we do that? What happens? Well, we get COVID outbreaks. When we follow Ken's advice, millions of people die. So Pastor Ken Peters, his idea causes people to die. His idea is like, yeah, what if we let people die? What idea? So Ken Peters is like, hey, if we let people die, What's wrong with letting people die? That's what Pastor Ken Peters is saying. He's like, I'm thinking if we let people die, it would not be a bad thing. That's what Pastor Ken Peters is saying. He's saying he is okay with massive death. He is okay with people dying. He's okay with children being orphans because their parents die. Pastor Ken Peters is like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with making parents die and leaving orphan kids? What's wrong with that? Pastor Ken Peters wants his flock to die. Free will is the cornerstone upon which the cult of individualism is built. The core tenet of this cult doctrine is that each individual person is the master of their own fate. We are free because we have a will. With this will, each person holds in their hands the power of their own life and death, wealth or poverty, sickness or health, love or loneliness, joy or grief. The power of force, self-discipline, and labor is all you need to conquer and subdue the will into manifesting whatever you desire. This indoctrination into the myth of the free will has not illuminated the key to our liberation. Instead, it has created the most successful campaign of settler colonialism in human history. Ken's idea of free will lead to mass death because Ken's choice of free will impacts the people around him. The virus doesn't care one bit about free will. It will infect anybody you will let it. Ari Berman. New analysis by Target Smart shared exclusively with Mother Jones finds GOP could pick up 5 seats in Florida, 3 seats in Texas, 3 in Georgia, and 2 in North Carolina through gerrymandering. That's it. Change nothing else. Just change the way the lines are drawn. And then all of a sudden, Republicans control the House in 2022. Do nothing but change the way the lines are drawn, and suddenly Republicans control the House of Representatives. The Democrats could win 50% of the vote in Georgia, but only control 20% of the House seats. So if you believe in free will, you would say, oh, that's my own individual fault that this is happening. No, dude, it's a system. Look at the system. The system is messed up. A system in which you can win 50% of votes and only get 20% of the representation is a broken system. It has nothing to do with your individual free will. It has everything to do with the context in which you live. That's why it's stupid to expect brown and black activists to out-campaign gerrymandering. That's stupid. You're saying brown and black activists who are constantly being attacked by white supremacists who have a systemic disadvantage, we want you to work even harder to overcome this systemic problem that I don't want to deal with. No. You fix the problem, which is gerrymandering. It's stupid to ask brown and black activists to out-organize systemic oppression. Justice demands retribution. Charges filed against Proud Boys so far stemming from the riot at the church at Planned Parenthood in Salem, Oregon on July 13th. Theft in the first degree, felon in possession of a firearm, robbery in the second degree, rioting, disorderly conduct in the second degree, assault in the third degree, and resisting arrest. These Proud Boys stand back, stand by. They're all about the insurrection. They're all about trying to overthrow the country, right? The guy is wearing the flag of the country he wants to overthrow. Right? These guys are traitors. They want to overthrow the country. They were there in January 6th under the orders of Donald Trump to overthrow the country. These guys are traitors. And they were charged with theft, firearm, robbery, rioting, disorderly conduct. These guys were hanging out with Pastor Ken Peters. They were hanging out with this guy right here. Ken Peters hangs out with the Proud Boys, who are criminals and who try to overthrow the country. Birds of a feather flock together. Right, Ken? Right, Ken Peters? Right, Ken Peters? You hang out with felons who try to overthrow the United States, with traitors. Ken Peters hangs out with traitors. Ken Peters wants to spread coronavirus to as many people as he can so they die. What's wrong with Ken Peters? What's wrong with him? I wish Ken Peters would talk to me. The point of modern propaganda isn't only to misinform or to push an agenda, it is to exhaust your critical thinking, to annihilate truth. Annihilate truth. That's the key. Annihilate truth. Garry Kasparov, Russian chess master. The point of propaganda isn't to push a specific ideology. It's just to break your ability to discern truth. If you can't tell right from wrong, black from white, if you can't make any distinctions anymore, it's easy to manipulate you. The point of propaganda is to confuse you so much that you believe everything is the same and that both sides are the same, that you can't make any distinctions. Because when you can't make distinctions, anything is possible. Go ahead and kill lots of people because nothing matters anymore, right? You can't tell the difference because your brain is so fucked up. I didn't make this up. Garry Kasparov didn't make this up. It's a Russian thing. The Russians did it.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand.
There's nothing to do with espionage. Only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures.
Active measures.
Мероприятия in the language of the KGB.
Active measures.
Or psychological warfare. What it basically means
psychological
is
warfare.
To change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Is the point of active measures is to confuse every American, confuse them so much to the point that no one is able to come to a consensus about how to defend yourself. Again, say that again.
Which we call either ideological subversion or active
measures.
Активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
You confuse Americans so much that no one is able to come to sensible conclusions to defend yourself. Ken Peters. Are you listening, Ken Peters? Are you listening?
Change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid of society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society. The next stage is...
So I missed it. I was like fixing my chroma key.
Every American, to such an extent, no one is in themselves, their families, their community.
So everyone has been confused by COVID misinformation, right? There's all this COVID misinformation out there, or disinformation. It's not misinformation. Misinformation is a mistake. Like when you don't mean to, it was a mistake. It was by accident. Disinformation is when you do it on purpose, when you're trying to hurt people. Remember when Trump was talking about buying that hydrochloroquine or whatever, that whatever hydrochloroquine stuff? That was disinformation. It didn't actually help you, but he got to make money from it. It would actually hurt you because it's disinformation, right? It's bad information. It won't keep you safe from COVID. But Trump spread it anyways because he was going to make money from it. He spread disinformation. That's what Yuri is talking about. Americans are so confused that they're not able to come to sensible conclusions about defending themselves. COVID is coming. It's going to wreck us, but Americans are disinformed about how to protect ourselves, so they spread a bunch of lies, like vaccine lies, like death lies, like mask lies, like origin lies, any kind of lies they can. They'll just spread it, right? The point is to confuse Americans so they can't defend themselves. That's what this is all about, and that's what the Russians were doing. That's what the Russians are doing.
Community and their country. You cannot change their mind.
Can't change the mind.
If you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior.
I've tried, right? I've gone to Trump supporters and I've like showed them the stuff and they just don't even care. I showed one woman the video where Donald Trump sided with Vladimir Putin against the United States in Helsinki before the whole world. Donald Trump said, oh yeah, Americans are terrible and you can't believe them. Donald Trump is the guy to go to, or Vladimir Putin is the guy to go to in front of the whole world. And what did this woman tell me? She watched this video and said, I'm with Donald Trump. Right? You could show them videos and they don't care. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. That's what it does to their heads. It totally destroys their ability because they can't make distinctions. They cannot make distinctions when all the colors, because when you look at a picture, you can see a picture because the colors are distinct. This color is distinct from this color, and that color is distinct from that color. And because of these distinctions, you can pull out like, oh, that's an object, and that's a different object, and that's a person. But when all those colors start blurring together and blending together, the picture is muddy. You can't pull anything out. I don't know if that's a person or a thing. I don't know if that's even anything. Like, what? What is this thing? Then when it's all blurred, then you can't make distinctions, and then it's all the same. I don't know. It's all the same to me. I don't know. And so that's how come the primary enemy of fascists, of Nazis, is truth, because truth is that which is. But if you cannot make distinctions, then you can't distinguish you cannot distinguish between what is and what is not.
In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people.
So Yuri is saying that we're kind of, the Trumpists, we're kind of stuck with them. They're going to be here for a generation until we can educate better people. Which is funny because Republicans have been working to attack education as much as possible. Because Republicans want a confused population that doesn't believe in truth, because truth gets in the way of power, and Republicans are all about power. So So they don't want that. So
who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy? Foreign relations, defense system. Nothing to do with espionage.
Oh no,
doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. The next stage, of course, is crisis.
All right, economy, foreign relations, defense systems. Remember when Donald Trump took power? On the economy, he couldn't really do much to the economy by himself. Like, the economy was the economy. He couldn't really do the economy. He tried to take credit for it, but like, it was just gonna roll. The next one was foreign relations. Remember what Donald Trump did with foreign relations? He attacked all of our allies and he befriended all of our enemies. So Donald Trump utterly wrecked our foreign relations. He tried his damnedest to destroy our foreign relations. And then defense systems. He gave Syria to the Russians, and he betrayed the Kurds for Turkey, for the Russians, basically. So yeah, he destabilized our nation by a lot, and he fomented an insurrection inside of our country.
It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely.
So all this stuff, these lies, this disinformation that you're hearing from Trump people, is gaslighting. They're trying to normalize white supremacy. They're trying to normalize insurrection. They're trying to say, oh, it was just a bunch of tourists. It wasn't anything big. It was just, they're trying to normalize it, minimize it, so that this constant attack on our democracy, that you won't do anything to defend against it. They're trying to confuse you. That's the Russian active measures. And that's what's at work here in the United States right now. So just so you know that I'm not lying, here's that note that the lawyer Richard Donahue said. Trump said, just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. That's Donald Trump saying the Department of Justice only needs to say. It doesn't need proof. It doesn't need an investigation. All it needs to do is say it. That's the same thing that Donald Trump wanted the Ukraine guy to do. Remember in the telephone conversation he had Kane with Zelensky, the Ukrainian prime minister? Donald Trump said, there doesn't need to be an actual investigation into Hunter Biden. I don't need any kind of proof or anything. I just want you to say it. Just say there's an investigation into Hunter Biden. It doesn't actually have to be one there, right? Because that's all Donald Trump wants, right? The same thing happened in this case. It didn't matter if there was voter fraud or not. All Donald Trump wanted the Department of Justice to do was to say there was voter fraud. And then Donald Trump and the Republican congressman would do the rest. They would stage the coup on January 6th. And the Department of Justice didn't go along with it. But Donald Trump was still he was still going to go with it, right? He was too far along to give up his plan now. He had to keep going with his coup, even though the Department of Justice wouldn't help him. He had to keep going with his coup. He and the Republican congressman, Paul Gosar. Let's see. Student loan forgiveness. That's right. So, canceling student debt is progressive when you measure it correctly by wealth, not by income. When you look at the full population, when you exclude private student loans. So 10,000 max. If you cancel only 10,000, you won't help that many people. Like, but if you cancel the max cancellation plan, you're helping the poorest people the most. So down here is your quintile. Remember that quintile setup I had? 20, 40, 60, 80. Well, they take the top 10 and they split into two. So 80 to 100. Because otherwise you couldn't see how far down it drops off. But really, the more you forgive, the more poor people you help out. Yeah, the more you forgive, the more poor people you help out. Yeah, now that's some good to see. Tim Dickinson wrote a story about how anti-vaxxers and conspiracy theorists cross streams and help put us in the fix we're in now. Tim Dickinson writes this thing right here. So Oliver's research has shown that openness to conspiracy theory is correlated to intuitive thinking over evidence-based thinking. In other words, something that feels right is more important than like actual evidence. Conspiratorial beliefs take hold in people who make gut-level decisions and place disproportionate weight on symbolic costs. He offers a questionnaire that helps tease out the personality trait. Would you rather stab a photograph of your family 5 times with a sharp knife, or stick your hand in a bowl of live cockroaches? Would you rather sleep in laundered pajamas once worn by Charles Manson, or pick a nickel off the ground and put it in your mouth? Would you rather grind your heels into an unmarked grave, or stand in line for 3 hours at the DMV? A person avoiding actions with high symbolic costs, stabbing a family photo, sleeping in Manson's PJs, he says, is a very strong predictor of believing in conspiracy theories, regardless of where they are on the ideological spectrum. Oliver points out that conservative religious Americans, evangelical or Orthodox communities, tend to have very high intuition scores and receptivity to conspiracy theories. But so do New Age communities associated with American left. People who believe in conspiracy theories also believe that GMOs are bad, he said. They tend to like organic food or natural health remedies. So it goes both ways. Anyone who disregards science in favor of superstition is in favor of conspiratorial thinking, the kind of thinking that makes you not be able to make distinctions anymore, that makes you a ripe target for Russian active measures to destroy your brain. All right, I did this one already. Virus 101, Ken Piper. The virus 101, they change over time. If more people are vaccinated, they change less. If everyone is vaccinated, they go away forever. Not enough people were vaccinated for COVID-19. It changed. That's why we're back at square one, because not enough people got vaccinated, so the virus mutated to be more effective. Whenever a woman makes a choice for herself, men whining in the background. All right, that's pretty good. I made a gold farm. Hopefully next time, look at all these guys. What's up, guys? I finally have someone watching me as I do my show. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I appreciate it. All right, next time I come back, I should have like a trading hall. Oh yeah, the other thing. This village right here. It's a nice village, right? Super nice village. It's all like well made and cared for, nice colors. No one lives here. There's nobody here. There's no villagers. Nobody lives here. It's just an empty village. So I'm going to take those villagers that I'm going to cure, and I'm going to repopulate this village here. This is the one guy that lives here. He's the only one that lives here, and it's because he lives up here, and he is separated from everyone else. Like, oop, he can't get down to the rest of the village. That's why he's the only one left alive. Makes me wonder what happened here. Did they have like a zombie outbreak or what? But yeah, I have to repopulate this village and restore it to its former glory. A new generation of patriotically minded Americans. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. This Tuesday, I hear there's going to be another attack in Salem at Planned Parenthood. So get ready. Get ready for defense. Okay, until next time. Peace out. Pogokero done. Finished. Stop.